So after 12 years, 2.5 Men is finally done, and I just watched the final episode. Do I think they did a good job with it? Yeah. So 2.5 Men is finally over after 12 long, enjoyable seasons. I've always been a fan of 2.5 Men. It's always been one of my favourite sitcom shows there's ever been. I know people have a lot of issues with it, but it didn't really bother me. Like, one of the big issues people had was when Charlie Sheen left at the end of season 8, and then Ashton Kutcher came on as Walden, and he was just completely different to Charlie. It didn't really bother me that much, because I really like Ashton Kutcher's character. I've enjoyed 2.5 Men all the way through the 12 seasons. I'll admit, through this last season, it has gone a bit off, but I still wanted to see the finale and see how it all ended up. They could have done it a lot better. Now, obviously, let me start by saying that this review is spoiler heavy. So if you haven't seen the finale yet for 2.5 Men, don't watch this, because there's a lot I want to talk about. So the plot for the series finale was the revelation that Charlie never died. For seasons now, ever since Charlie Sheen left, the idea was that Charlie was hit by a train and was killed. And it turns out that he wasn't killed. For years now, Rose has been keeping Charlie in her basement, and Charlie ends up escaping. And throughout the episode, Charlie is trying to get back at all the people who have wronged him, mostly Alan. So here are some of the issues I had with the episode. One thing that I noticed they did a lot of in the episode was fourth wall breaks. To anyone who doesn't know what a fourth wall break is, it's when, like, people in a show, they don't usually connect with the audience, but then there's moments where sometimes they'll turn to the camera and say something, and mention something about the show, or say something to the audience. That's a fourth wall break. And in the final episode of 2.5 Men, they did a lot of them. Now, I love a good fourth wall break, but because they did it so regularly in this final episode, it just got annoying. To note a couple of fourth wall breaks, there's one moment where Walden and Alan are having a conversation. Alan leaves the room, and then Walden looks straight at the camera and says, "I can't wait for this all to be over." There's a bit in the episode where Alan, Walden, Evelyn, Rose, and Berta are all in the lounge room together, and they're all talking about how Charlie's alive. And at one point in that scene, Berta says to Alan that if he leaves and Charlie comes back, they can probably keep this going for another 5 years. And they made a few cameos in the episode. One of the best cameos was Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you see my top 5 actors in movies, you would know that I absolutely love Arnold Schwarzenegger. Always have. So it was really cool seeing him in the episode. Probably one of the best moments in the episode was the bits with him in it. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a guy at the police station named Lieutenant Wagner. Alan and Walden have gone to the police station to talk to him, just to talk to him about Charlie and see if he can find him for them. And throughout the scene, Alan and Walden bring up pretty much everything that has happened all the way through 2.5 Men. All, like, the main plots of the show. And in that scene, they end up talking about how Charlie has some anger issues. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's character says, has he tried anger management? Now, to anyone who doesn't know, after Charlie Sheen left 2.5 Men, he started a new show called Anger Management. So Arnold Schwarzenegger brings up, has he tried anger management? And then Alan says he did, but it didn't work out. Now, I haven't watched Anger Management in a while, and I don't think it's actually gone very well, the show, and I think it might have been axed. So I think that's why Alan brought that up. But still, that was a fourth wall break to the Anger Management show. Now, another awesome moment with the episode was, they brought heaps of old characters back. One in particular was Jake. And personally, he was my favourite character in all of 2.5 Men. I just really liked the guy. So Jake returning in the final episode made me so happy, and probably my favourite moment in the whole episode. So Jake returns with a whole new look, and he has a talk with Alan and Walden about his new life. Jake has quit the army and he's living in Japan. And in the scene, Jake's telling Alan and Walden how much money he has made at a casino. He has made, I think it was $2.5 million. So they're talking about the money that Jake's made. Walden says something to Jake that's like, "It's amazing how much money you've made with such stupid jokes." Because that's what Jake has done pretty much through 2.5 Men. The way they made Jake at the start, he was just this cute little kid, really innocent. And then getting older, they turned Jake into more of like an idiot kid. And he always made really stupid jokes. So that thing that Walden said to Jake was just a real stab at what Jake's character's been like through 2.5 Men. And after Walden said what he said to Jake, all three of them just looked straight at the camera with this big smile and just like, yep. That was one of the things that really annoyed me. There were so many times in the episode where they'd make a joke about something, usually a fourth wall break, and then they would look at the camera and smile. The first time it was funny, but it got annoying. And one of the big issues about the episode was near the end, the main plot of the episode is that Charlie is alive, so everyone's expecting to see Charlie at the end. That's what everyone wants. And then right at the end, you see the back of Charlie Harper coming over to the door of the beach house. He presses the doorbell, but obviously you don't see Charlie's face. It's just the back of him. It's just a guy playing Charlie. It's not Charlie Sheen. And suddenly a piano lands on him at the last second and kills Charlie. And then the camera pans out to the creator, Chuck Lorre, watching it happen, and then he turns to the camera and says, winning. And then a piano lands on Chuck Lorre and kills him too. Roll credits. Why? They could have done that so much better. It was just Chuck Lorre having another stab at Charlie Sheen. Now, there was a lot of hype that Charlie Sheen was going to come back, but then there was a lot of issues and it didn't end up happening, so they just used a guy to look like Charlie from the back. Of all the ways I thought 2.5 Men would end, I really did not think it would end like that. They hyped up throughout the whole episode that Charlie was alive, and at the last second, they kill him on screen. It just made me really disappointed. Luckily, there were some good moments in the episode. Not a lot, but there were some good moments. Some of my favourite moments, which I've already mentioned, was obviously Jake returning was my favourite moment in the episode. Even though he wasn't in for long, he was only there for a few minutes. It was still great to see Jake again. And the other thing being Arnold Schwarzenegger's cameo in it. Those two moments I absolutely loved. I did like the whole plot with Alan getting a letter that was meant for Charlie, and it was all the royalties from Charlie's music career. There was a lot of money to be claimed, and Alan tries to get the money. And that was quite funny, watching Alan try to get this money and lying to his family about the money, trying not to tell them about it. He doesn't want them to have the money. That whole plot made me laugh, because I love Alan, and yeah, it was just funny. The other moment I liked was when Alan and Walden went to see Charlie's daughter Jenny. They're sitting in Jenny's lounge room in her apartment, and in the scene you see random girls come out of Jenny's room and then go back in, and Jenny's reaction to it, that made me laugh, that scene. I really enjoyed that. So that scene I liked. Stuff with Alan trying to get Charlie's money was funny, and then yeah, Jake's return and Arnold Schwarzenegger's cameo. These were all the moments I liked. Then pretty much everything else in the episode, I didn't enjoy that much. The occasional fourth wall break was good, and they also brought a fair amount of old characters back, which I enjoyed. But there was a lot of things wrong with the episode, and they could have done it so much better. It was quite disappointing. It won't make you stop watching 2.5 Men. Like, I'll go back and watch old episodes and stuff, because there's a lot of old episodes that are really good. Episodes before Charlie left, and episodes after Charlie left, there are a lot of good episodes. But I don't think I'll ever watch the finale again, because it just wasn't that enjoyable. So the episode was disappointing. There were good parts to it, but mostly it was a bit disappointing. So have you seen the series finale for 2.5 Men? What did you think of it? What was your favourite part, if any? Did you like seeing the cameo for Arnold Schwarzenegger? Did you like seeing Jake return? Did you hate what happened right at the end with Charlie? Whatever you think, comment below and let me know. And of course, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.